Record on this computer. Welcome everyone to Surfing the Change, an introduction with Janki and myself, Dr. Khushboo. We're hoping more people join in because we had like 50 registrations or something. So we really want to reach out to as many people as possible, especially in these changing times. So where do we begin? Basically, the reason we wanted to do this call is, of course, we've all gone through massive changes. Our businesses are going through changes. Our businesses are demanding changes, whether it's a business or your job or work. If I say business, because that's my reference point of working with anything and anyone is a business. But when I say business, it's pretty much any work that you're involved in, whether it's a job, whether it's an internship, whether you're still studying and you're actually making choices for your future work, whatever it is, wherever you are. So we've gone through changes, we're going through changes, and what has what I've seen and what we've heard, and I have some HR friends and I have some other friends who are working in different organizations and etc. And they all seem to be in some sort of a stress, okay, because of these changes. So they all seem to be in some weird financial stress. I say financial stress because that seems to be the underlying thread in every conversation that I have. Like, even if it's just, I want some mental peace, which is what some of y'all actually put in your Google form answers, which is, I'd love to have some mental peace and I'd love to have this or I'd love to have that. But if I speak to most people, and I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but if we actually speak to more and more people, the underlying thing and the common thread seems to be money and money issues and etc. Okay, and it may not be that we can cover anything and everything, but if that is what it is, please talk about it, and so we can take this call towards that. The more questions you ask, the more relevant this call will be for you guys. Okay. Otherwise, like you noticed, Janki can keep talking for a very long time. So can I. Okay. And so this will pretty much be a listen to us, because no one's talking, but it'll be really great if you guys ask us questions wherever you are, whatever phase you're in. Whatever like you please ask questions, because if you
so
don't,
let me begin by asking a question here. Okay, so guys, just get, like, all of you are here, and I would really like to say thank you for on a weekday taking out time in the evening after probably a long day's work where you've dealt with 100 different things. So thank you firstly for being on this call, and thank you, Khushboo, for putting this idea together that we can contribute to them. And now that you guys are here, the idea is for all of you to take away something that's going to help you be, have more mental peace, be happier, be more open to receiving the changes and knowing that you can make the most of it, right? And the idea of this call and the workshop in the future is to equip you with the tools that you need to actually maximize this phase, not just to survive it, but to thrive through it, to actually surf the change, like a pro. And so for that, I want to ask you all this question. What is it that you would want to get help on? What is it that you are looking to change, improve, have ease with today, right now? Just put in the chat box whatever is that one thing that you wish you could sort, figure, have ease with in your life right now today. Just put your thing in the chat box. Okay, health.
Interesting. Yeah. Anything else? Keep putting in, and I'll tell you why we're asking. While you're answering this, let us give you a little background of who we are and where we're going from here. I am Dr. Khushboo Shah. I have a doctor in front of me because at some point in this lifetime, I used to be a dentist, and then I changed my careers, and I am now something called as an access consciousness facilitator, a life coach, and the founder of Earthlings. Mainly today's thing, and so Janki is also an access consciousness facilitator as well. And what we're going to do today is, let me gather the words. So if you've gone through some of my invitational videos, you will have noticed what I was saying. And even if you've not, let me repeat it. Whenever any change comes, okay, whenever we're faced with changes, we tend to go toward anxiety. We tend to go towards these places where stress, not audible. Am I not audible?
You are.
I am. Okay, cool. So for like it, basically you go into a place where stress, okay, and stress is, it can be in the form of anxiety, it can be form of various like health issues as well, etc., 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 etc. And then you start making and making decisions and making choices for your future from a space of anxiety or stress. Okay, now look back to all of the choices you've made from anxiety and stress, and look back to all of the choices where you were like, no, I'm going to take my time here. I'm going to actually relax. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to ask a question, like, or I'm going to look for more information, and then I'm going to make choices. Okay. And look how both choices turned out. All right. So that's the idea. The idea is, oh, here is the tool and everything's going to change. Yes, of course. But we're going to, your point of view creates your reality. So if your point of view, for example, around money is stressful, or I don't know what is going to happen, there's going to be a depression soon that all leaders are expecting, and then I'm going to have this, and you start buying all this financial anxiety, and now it's your point of view that's going to create your reality. That is what it is. So if your point of view of money, about money, or about your career, about whatever, is based on a limiting, not ease-filled point of view, you are now going to create a future which is exactly going to be like this. It's not going to have more ease, it's actually going to have more stress. Okay?
Right. And I would just actually like to add here, okay? So a lot of you may be aware of this. This is not new. This is information that is out there and very well known, but I'm going to repeat it because we sometimes forget these basics, right? Like Khushboo said, your point is your reality. Now, if you had to look at your life today, we have what we call like everything that you see around you, your money reality, your relationships, your health, your stress, whatever's going on, they are what we call the fruits. Okay? They are a result. They are what's above the ground, the things that you can see, okay, in a tree. But what's causing it? And we're always trying to fix these fruits without realizing that no matter how many times you fix those fruits with, little, solutions, the problem is which is way below underground where you can't see them, which is, metaphorically speaking, that's your subconscious mind. When there is a certain seed that has, germinated in your mind, like let's say a seed of fear or anxiety, like things are going to go bad, worse, they're going to get worse, there's going to be money problem, jobs are going to be lost. When you start buying into this, now once this has been planted in your subconscious, maybe you bought it in a conversation from a friend, maybe you saw it on the media, maybe you're just reading a lot of WhatsApp forwards, it doesn't matter. But once this has taken seed in your subconscious, now the fruits start growing from here, which means, there's a very popular saying, what you believe is what you see. So when you start seeing this constantly around you, you are thinking this is what is happening and that's what, is going to happen. But you're not realizing, because you bought that point of view in the first place, is why you are manifesting, seeing this everywhere, is why these are the fruits that are growing. right? And there is something that we call the reticular activation system, which means that when you have a point of view, when your mind starts believing something, you will see it everywhere. So if you are
Great.
thinking that
So
this change is a threat, this change is going to cause something bad in my life, everywhere you will read somebody died, somebody lost their job, somebody had this, somebody had that, and that is what will keep psyching you out. And the point of this call is to tell you that there is a different way out, a very, very simple way, if you will choose to have it, because ultimately ease and joy and glory in your life is a choice. So if you will choose to have it, there is a way, provided you're willing to receive it. Khushboo,
awesome.
would you like to add something?
Yeah, I'm actually, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just like where you're going is, um, I have a little, it's not a presentation, but a little PDF that I'm going to share to just make the concept easier, so that when we actually go to the tool that we're going to talk about afterwards, there will be tools given at the end of this thing. But the reason I'm just going to share the screen and explain something called as the theory of mind. Okay, the theory of mind was given by Dr. John Capris long back, and we've been functioning from the mind as if this is who we are. Okay, but the tools that we're going to give you is to take you beyond the mind and actually start taking action for your future today from a very different space. Okay, so let me just share it. So this, can you guys see this? I don't know if people are watching it. Okay, so this is how your mind is. Okay, if you can see here, you have the conscious mind, you have the subconscious mind, and you have something called as the critical filter. Okay, now the conscious mind is the part of your mind that logics, that analyzes, that thinks, etc., etc., etc. Your subconscious mind is a memory, is just like a storehouse of all memories. So everything that you've ever gone through is all stored here. But our concern and where our tools work, and they are different, is because they tackle something called as the critical filter, which is right here. Okay, what is the critical filter? Your critical filter is your entire belief system, everything that tells you what is right, wrong, good and bad, about everything, about money, about changes, about etc., 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 etc. Now the way your mind works, and I'm going to quickly tell you about this, is your conscious mind and your subconscious mind take in information from everywhere. Like for example, you're taking in information right now, you're taking in information about what I'm saying, you're taking in information about what other people look like on the screen, you're also taking in information about the rain that's going on outside, about the color in the room that I am in, the temperature, etc., 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 etc. Your mind is constantly bombarded with a lot of information. Now imagine the same information that you're getting from news, from etc., etc., etc. So everything is constantly bombarded at your mind and at your conscious mind. Then your critical filter, what does it do? Its job is to basically stamp every information you get based on a previously formed belief system, which means you're always prejudging every situation. So for example, you get information like, okay, coronavirus, everything is going to shut down. And that leads to an activation of a point of view in your this thing about money or about something else completely. So no matter what the situation is, instead of asking a question and instead of just going, that's an interesting point of view, I don't have to buy into it, your critical filter starts engaging your stupid mind. And I'm saying stupid because it's literally a computer system, because it's not giving you new information. So everything that you're experiencing right now is prejudged by a belief system that's already formed. Okay, so this is what we're trying to tell you guys, that it's going to be a deeper change. We're going to have to look at points of views that you are actually functioning from and change it from there. Because once your critical filter becomes less dense, you will have more happiness, you will have more money, you will have more receptivity, adaptability, creativity, anything and everything. Because the only thing that stops you from being present and being conscious with any choice is this stupid thing called the critical filter. So we're working on the critical filter. When we give you simple tools, it's not just this philosophy that we want to put out, oh, think good and everything good will happen. No, it's literally a science. Okay, so hopefully I've made that clear. And from there on, we can move forward. So now that you know that it is a science and this is not a philosophy lecture, understanding what points of views you are functioning from will give you the greatest ease. Okay, now let me read the chat. Stress and health, cool. Shweta has written, money should come easily without working too hard or slogging for it. And that's an amazing point of view. But the way you're saying it and the way you've put it, do you really think that's possible? And you have to be very honest about it. If somewhere you've already decided that's not possible because of what you learned from your parents or what you learned from your teachers or what you basically learned from news and everything else, even if you know somewhere, oh my God, this should be possible. Like, why is money not easy? Like, why is it becoming stressful? It's because of this. You bought some part of it or all of it at some age. Okay. So Shweta, truth, do you really believe this, or are there other points of views that tell you otherwise? And if you could unmute yourself, we can actually really help you with this right now. Is she even here?
Yeah.
She's here.
Yeah. So I think I know that I don't believe in that possibility, but I hope that it's a possibility.
Yeah. So
that's
now
my struggle.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm hoping and I'm dreaming, but it's not coming. Yes, exactly. Because somewhere you've already bought the impossibility of money being ease. How many people do we know that truly have ease with money? Okay, so one of the first tools that I began with, that I know most of us here who've done access at some point or the other, the one tool is interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Okay, so every time, for example, right now, okay, relax, think about money. What's the first feeling, thought, or emotion that comes up?
You can type it in the chat box.
So Chitra says safe. So Chitra, I'll take that for sure. But if Shweta has something that's coming up, she can be our example as we continue this. Shweta, are you here?
It's like you have to be worthy of having money.
Okay, cool. It's like you have to be worthy of having money. Cool. Now that look at that point of view. Okay, I have to be worthy to have money. Does that make you feel light, or does that make you feel heavy? Like, does it give you a sense of possibility, or does it tell you everything that's not possible? Yeah, it's a sense of heaviness. Okay, so anything that makes you heavy is inherently a lie. Okay, so you really have to just go, oh, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Because the only reason that point of view has any effect on your choices is because it has a charge around it. It brings up this weird charge. So as you say interesting point of view, and I know these tools sound really simple and therefore a lot of people dismiss them, but don't, please just give this a shot. Even if you think we're talking nonsense and we're just like being really philosophical, give this a shot. You are here, give this a shot for the next 3 days. Okay, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. For this point of view, say this, repeat this till all of the charge around it sort of dissipates. Okay, till it's no longer affecting you and it really is just an interesting point of view. What does that mean? It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. which means you literally removed that point of view from your critical filter and it no longer exists.
Right. So I just want to add here, for the people who are new to this, right? What happens is every time you come across an idea, a thought, a belief, or a point of view, what we do is, as we said, we take it in, and make it a conclusion, or then it's an assumption or a judgment. Now, when it's a judgment, assumption, or conclusion, it kind of then becomes like this solidified structure in our world, which we can't go beyond. Like how much ever you might want to try to have money with ease, but because you have an idea that it cannot be ease, it will not let you look forward. So what you're doing when you're saying the words interesting point of view is, you are telling your mind again and again, you're like programming your mind to say, hey, this is not a fact, this is not a reality, this is not the conclusion, this is not the end all and be all, this is just an interesting point of view that I bought from someone. And if it's an interesting point of view, I don't have to try and prove it wrong, I don't have to try and prove it right, I don't have to give it any significance. I have to make it insignificant. It's just an interesting thing. I can just dismiss it. Okay? When you make something significant, you solidify it in your world. Like when you have to go for a really big interview, you've made it so significant, so it becomes that serious and big, and then it kind of weighs you down. But when you go into a meeting to meet friends, you're like open. Whatever conversation you're going to have, you're going to contribute, you're going to have fun. So you go with an open mind. Which is why we actually say go with an open mind for everything, right? We value the open mind because when you have an open mind, you haven't already picked sides, right, wrong, good, bad, black, white. It kind of gives you choice to access it for what it is and discard it if it doesn't work for you, keep it if it works for you, but it allows you to play with it. So the tool interesting point of view allows you to look at everywhere that you've made something a conclusion, that this is always going to be like this. Things are changing. I might lose my job. Things are changing. There might be a pay cut, or there is already a pay cut. Things are changing. I don't know what's going to happen. What is going to be the future? So where you've already started assuming things are going to be bad, we're just trying to make you relook at it and say, hey, this is just my interesting point of view. This doesn't have to be a reality. Now, we always say your point of view creates your reality, and nothing has any meaning other than the meaning you attach to it. So if you put these two things together, you can make COVID the best thing that ever happened to you, which most of us are feeling like this is literally the best phase because, I've done like international workshops where I was not doing them before. I started them in COVID. I'm launching a program. I'm launching a talk show. Like there's just so much happening for me because I after a week of buying into the panic of COVID, I was like, you know what? No, this is going to be an amazing thing. What is the best thing I can do here? And I started asking questions to change my point of view about COVID. So basically what Khushboo has been trying to say is look at money, look at all the points of views you have about money and around money, and then go like, okay, this is just an interesting point of view. You're unlocking or desolidifying that whole concrete thing that you've created around money. You're kind of making it melt and dissipate.
So here's what, like, I know right now, Janki and I and a lot of us, we're sitting here is like, oh my God, like we've actually, honestly, and we're not exaggerating, our businesses have actually done well during COVID. Okay. That doesn't mean we dismissed everything that was going on. And it also doesn't mean we didn't go into panic. Believe me, all of us went into panic in the first few days. It's just that we didn't let the panic extend for too long. I literally, and I'm telling you this is how cool this tool is. I literally sat with myself, okay, wait, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, interesting point of view, they have this point of view, because everybody had points of views, including my parents, including the people I work with, about what's going to happen. Okay. And a lot of it felt heavy. It didn't feel like this was actually what's going to happen. Once I didn't let the charge and the panic affect me, that's where the next tool comes in, which is ask a question. Okay? Go back to the critical filter. A critical filter cannot judge a question. How do you judge a question which is actually a question? What else is possible? The little finger just goes like, I don't know, what else is possible? It can't judge it as wrong, right, good, bad. Okay, so question is a great form of interrupting that weird algorithm that is your stupid mind. Okay, so once that charge goes away and you relax, this is the question, and I really did ask, like, we're not just making this stuff up, what action can I take? What action can I take? Everything before that was a reaction. Whenever there's a charge, whenever there's weird stress, it's a reaction. Okay, it didn't mean, oh, the universe is going to take care of me and I'm going to chill. No, I'm like, no, I know things are changing. I know I need to change a few things and adapt to a few things. What action can I take that will create a greater future? What action, what action, what action? Okay, so the idea of interesting point of view and the idea of everything we're doing, even when we're doing the deep 2.5 hour call, which is now on the 16th of August, it's not on the 9th. We've shifted it because I have something else going on that day. So 16th of August, when we're actually doing that 2.5 hour class, we're going to go deeper in every point of view and actually start removing them, because these are just the basic tools to begin with, and use them. And you may not want to come back, but at least use these, give it a shot. And then if you really want to change and really want to go deeper and really change it quickly, because I don't know any other tools that have ever worked for me. I've done tons of things before I started using these tools. The only reason we sit here to talk about these tools is because they've changed our lives. And what it does is it takes you away from the panic, the charge very quickly, and puts you into a space where you're creating. Okay, so interesting point of view, and then what action can I take, and then what else is possible. But notice, the idea of this is to notice, oh wait, panic, stress, not real. Anything that's heavy, not real. That's why, how many of you guys like watching the news? And
Not me, for sure.
there may be some people here, but and it's not a judgment. It's just like a lot of it is a lot of lies attached to like some minute form of truth. Okay, so which is why you just go like, what is going on? Okay, the reason being there's a lot of lies. So you're aware of what these changes are creating. And the more you use some of these tools, the more you understand the mechanics of your stupid mind, the more you start getting out of it and you start creating your life differently. You start creating your money differently. You start creating your job, your work, what you're asking for differently. Not from anxiety, not from panic, but from true action. What action can I take? Okay. Any other questions or anything that you guys would like to, or Janki, do you have anything?
Somebody who's raised a hand. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Janki, you've raised your hand.
Oh, that's so funny. Sorry, I will lower my hand. Okay, and there's one more comment. What am I doing? Sorry. It says making work changes and earning more with ease and enjoyment.
Awesome.
So these are actually the tools that we're going to teach you, so that no matter what situation you're in life, like not only COVID, like COVID, I know it's a phase. It might last a little longer than we want, but it's going to ultimately pass. But this is about learning tools that you can use for a lifetime, no matter where you find yourself, no matter what drama you're in the middle of, like whatever emotional soup you find yourself in, whatever changes are thrown at you by life, we are going to give you tools that can help you snap out of it in possibly 10 seconds. And when I say 10 seconds, I mean it. Because that's literally how long it takes for us to become aware of something, become conscious, make the decision like, hey, I'm not buying into this. I'm going to ask a question and then take the action to change it. Right now, some of you might think like 10 seconds sounds like a very tall claim, but trust me when I say this, it's not, because it's tried and tested by thousands of people across the world, and it's literally the simplest modality like that you can apply. I have learned, I'm internationally certified in so many other modalities, but I find that it can't get simpler than these tools. And I'm a self-proclaimed lazy bum. So if anything requires effort, I'm like, it's not worth it. Sorry. And when I learned Access, for me, that was actually the place where I said, wow, this is literally a tool which I can use in 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, max 10 seconds on the go, without having to sit, to meditate, to really, journal for hours, without requiring all this. If there is a way of life that can help you minute by minute take decisions, look at possibilities, open your mind, be adaptable, take the action that's required, keep fine tuning, keep taking action again, it is mind blowing. So if you think that this is something that you could use in your life, it's something that you would like to learn, then this is the workshop that can help you with that. Because the idea is, we as corporates, we as people who manage other people, who give jobs to other people, who other people depend upon, we are in a position of influencing not only people at work, but our own families. And when we learn this, we can begin to send the ripples of this ease and consciousness out to the world at large. So the idea of putting this call together is so that we can, whatever ease we have been able to create for us, we can share the tools with you. And when you learn it, you can share them forward. And, the world at large starts kind of thinking more consciously and being more conscious. Any
Awesome.
questions?
So I'm just gonna add something. So Asha, when you say making work changes and earning more with ease and enjoyment, and that's an amazing ask. This is your ask, right? So you ask for something. Now, the reason it's not showing up, or the reason this should happen, but the reason it's not showing up is because there's all of these other points of views and everything that you've bought in that tells you this is not possible. Just the exact same conversation I had with Shweta, right? So the first step is to begin there. Interesting point of view, okay? And really, this is what we're going to do in those 2.5 hours. We're going to use our facilitation techniques to ask you questions that will help you go to the core of each one of these things, which tells you this is not possible, or this is my point of view, this is point of view, very quickly, and start clearing it from within, so that you get rid of a major chunk of these points of view. Because believe me, you don't have just one point of view about money. You have billions of point of view about money. You don't have one point of view about your body. You have lots. So this is where we deep dive. And what we've been trained in is this facilitation, where we ask questions and get you to those points of views that stop you from receiving your ask, which is these things. No problem, Dipsa. Thank you. And thank you, Asha, for putting it in, because you're not the only one asking for this. This is literally what we all want. At the end of the day, we just want things that should be ease. It should be fun. It should be joy. Why is everything so stressful? And the reason it feels heavy, because it's not true for you. Okay? We've just bought into a lot of things from many, many places. And that's why dealing with that critical filter, not having your critical filter determine how you create your life, is our goal, is the place where we begin with. So you literally have this space. This is not do these 10 things and you'll get rich in 15 days. This is, let's change deeply, because these are not points of views that Corona brought in you. Okay, these are points of views that you always had. The only thing what happens is, during changes, all of these weird things that you've got into they become very apparent and in your face. That which you've been trying to avoid, and you're like, "Haan, chalta hai na, I don't want to look at it," and you struggle through it, you strive through your life, and when things are demanded to change, everything seems to surface up, and that's why we get panicky and anxious. I don't think panic or anxiety is wrong. It's just giving you awareness of what's going on and what you need to deal with or what you need to change. That's about it. And so Corona never gave you these points of views. you've had them before. It's just made it more apparent. And when things are more apparent, it's so easy to get rid of them. Like, that's why this phase is a gift, because it's bringing up everything that is so deeply ingrained that everything is now on the surface. And that's a great thing, because now you'll have the tools to get them out of your system truly and fully, so that you create your future from here on, so that you make more money. Okay, so that's what Corona did for me. It brought up all these points of views about money that I still had, and a lot about business, and etc., 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 etc. And it just became more apparent. I was like, oh, okay. And a lot of it wasn't even mine. So this is what changes do. The only reason you can't surf a change is because it makes all these impossibilities very prominent. But if you have the tools to deal with it, which is these tools, these are 10-second tools, I promise you'll start coming from a different space and creating a future. And you'll use these phases of change as a way to accelerate till you go to a place where you're like, give me more change. Change is where you start actually thriving and creating, because it's not normal for you to be constant. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Asha. I think we're good. Any other questions or anything? Anything that you guys would like to add or change? I mean, by adding, I meant.
So if we can, just right now before we wind up, if everybody can just think of that one point of view that you wish you could change, or that one area of your life. It could be your health, it could be money, it could be, stress, it could be about your job, it could be something in your family, in your relationships. Think of that one area of your life that you want to change, and now think of the point of view that has possibly created this in your life. Because if it's in your life, it's been created by you and your point of view. And the best thing about points of views is that they can be changed. Okay. So think of one area of your life, each one of you, that you would really like to change today. And I hope everybody's thought of something, right? Now look at the underlying point of view. Like, let's say I have decided that money is going to be a problem. Okay. Now the underlying point of view is, there could be so many, but I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 examples. The underlying point of view is that now there is going to be scarcity. I am one of the less worthy people, so others may still make them, but I know I'm probably going to lose out. I might get fired because I'm not good enough. So these are the underlying points of views to the money problem. Now, when you recognize these points of views, all I want you to do right now, and this is individually for whatever problem you've picked, just kind of put it out, like visualize that you've put it out in your hands here in front of you, and just say, okay, this is just my interesting point of view. Literally just visualize it, do it. If you want, literally just put your hands out and say, okay, this is my interesting point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And say it as many times as you need to unlock yourself from that solidified space where you feel this is the reality and I can't go beyond it. Wherever you've bought it, wherever you've convinced yourself, wherever you've concluded that this is it, just allow yourself to say, interesting point of view, interesting point of view, interesting point of view, interesting point of view. This is my point of view. And unlock yourself.
Asha raised her hand. Asha, yes, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, hi. So, for the last, I would say few months, as you said, coronavirus kind of brought out a lot of these pre-existing fault lines, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all through society, all,
Yeah.
you know, within ourselves personally at so many different levels. And so, you know, I've definitely been taking a deep dive within, and I find myself in the last maybe 2 months kind of hovering at the same space. So I completely, you know, whatever you say completely, you know, resonates about, you know, being aware of these points of view. And you know, and I've been in that for a while. What's been happening is I feel like I'm at this threshold. I'm, you know, kind of looking through this doorway still. um
So what stops you
you know, it's
from going through the doorway?
right, exactly. So there's, you know, it's like a, it's like a little bit of a teaser. So I get these, kind of moments that are quite um serendipitous, or, you know, something happens. It could be something really small, even. Like, I'll give you a quick example. I was, my daughter was talking to me about applying for a Fulbright scholarship for something, and the very next day I got an email from somebody I don't know, who had read something I had written, some, maybe a paper I had published or something like that, and she said, you know, I read your work, I'm a Fulbright scholar. I'm just, this is a small example, but this
Yeah.
type of things lining up, syncing up, you know, it's been happening so much, but it's been happening in these really small ways. So it's kind of just, it tantalizes me to say, okay, there's something else beyond this that's
Yeah.
really much unlimited. That's pretty unlimited. But I'm kind of standing at this doorway, looking into this dark space, and I don't know how to walk through it. I don't know if
Okay.
this makes sense, what I'm saying.
It does. Okay. So a couple of things here. First of all, those changes, the serendipitous opportunities and possibilities that actually came into your world, did you acknowledge them? It's like, oh, awesome. Or did you find like, what happened? So what happened when those things actually happened? Did you ask a
Yeah, I mean,
question like, how does it get any better than this? Or did you go into some
no,
weird shit?
I'm not yet good at asking those questions. I
Yeah.
definitely noticed it. I definitely, you know, but I haven't maybe, you know,
Yeah.
asked loudly enough. I don't know.
Cool. So you can now. So first of all, even if, you know, it's our judgment to tell us, oh, this is too small and blah, 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 blah. And with, you know, your mind gives you this bullshit like, oh my God, this is too small. I would like, what if you acknowledged even that? Because
Mm-hmm.
once you acknowledge, right? Like once you acknowledge all of the magic that you're creating, and this is serendipitous magic, and I'm going to put it as like magic because it's an easy word. Once you acknowledge even the little things, the bigger things can show up even more and more and more and more. That's the first thing. So
Right.
every time these things happen, instead of trying to figure it out, like how did this happen, or like going into this weird space of impossibility again, what if you just went, oh, how does it get any better? How does this get better? How does this get better? How does this get
Mm.
better? Train yourself to just ask the question and leave it. Because every time you
Right.
conclude that this is something, you thicken that critical filter. So now when there's something bigger that's going to show up, even if it does actually happen, or if it's trying to show up, that conclusion that you made when that thing happened will stop you from looking at it or even receiving it. Okay, so that's where I would begin. I would begin acknowledging even the little so-called little magic, because it's not little. It's a possibility that was given to you. So, and you never know what that leads to and what that leads to and what that leads to. So just go, oh, cool, awesome, thank you. How does it get any better than that?
Right.
Cool. And now
Great.
second part of your question doesn't seem relevant anymore, does it? Because you see, when you say there's this doorway and I feel like I'm going to go through, but I don't want to go, I don't think I can, is not relevant anymore, because is that true? Doesn't make you feel heavy or light.
Yeah, light.
You can't
No, you're saying
I mean, I'm saying
just
you said
doing away with the idea of the doorway itself feels light.
awesome. Yeah, exactly. Cool. That's what I was exactly, because you see how this mind is and what it created as a ripple. Not a very nice one. It just creates this weird thing. And once you buy into that first weird point of view, it creates all these weird lies in your world that are not even true. And once you realize this part, the first part, you realize, oh my God, this is not even relevant. Doesn't even make sense anymore. It just falls apart. Because its foundation is based on a lie, and you've changed the very foundation. And this is how simple it is.
Yeah. And that's the idea. The idea of learning these tools is where you literally begin to question everything, even if it comes from your own mind. So even if you've somehow managed to convince yourself like, no, this is not possible, or this is not possible for me, other people can do it, or I know I am like this is who I am, you will just literally come to a space where you will go like, hey, you know what? Even if I've believed for 20, 30, 40 years that this is who I am, I know if I want to change it, I can have the freedom to do so. So this is literally where you start accessing more than you've ever imagined by using these simple tools, simple questions, and literally just by asking questions.
And thank you, Asha. I love the
Great.
question. I think it opens
Thank you so
something
much.
for everybody. Cool, you guys.
Thank you.
This was okay.
Does
This was
anyone
great.
else have any questions? I think we've left everybody with a lot of things, food for thought. Everybody's lost in thought.
Everybody is finally being like aware and spacious. So I love it. Cool, you guys. Thank you so much for being on and taking this time and coming on and actually asking a different question, because these are not, this is not normal for you to be on. So you are weird, you are different in the most beautiful ways. So hopefully, please start using these tools. And like I said, Janki and I have a deeper session on the 16th of August from 10 to 12:30 p.m. All of y'all will get the registration link if you guys want to go deeper, and if you really want to change everything even more and really get present and create a future greater than any, you're welcome to join in.
And this is literally this space, like Asha said, you know there is something else out there. You get snippets of it, you see these flashes, you see these bits of miracles, and you go like, no, this is really not possible. And then we withdraw. This is the point where you can say, hey, you know what? I really want to see. I want to go through that doorway and see what the hell is out there, and how can I make these miracles happen at will and not just randomly look at them and say, oh, I think it was just a coincidence. So this is where you take charge. This is where you take responsibility. You take ownership for your life and say, I am going to make it bigger than everything else I've ever experienced. And if you want to learn the tools, we'd be very, very, very thrilled, excited, and happy to have you in the workshop. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Komal said, be on the lookout for our exit email. Yeah, you'll receive an email with all of the details, including the recording of this session. So for you guys to listen to it again. Thank you. This was a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Thank you for joining in. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Janki.
Thank you.